Welcome, everyone, to an epic, sprawling journey through time. Tonight, we are embarking on a deep dive into a greasy, quirky, mystical, and thrilling mix of history. We will explore the wild world of medieval junk food, the enigmatic realm of ancient dreams, the sacred and transformative brew of beer, and the heart-pounding gallop of the Pony Express. This is a tale of snacks that fueled daily life, visions that guided empires, sips that built civilizations, and riders who conquered a continent. It is a 90-minute adventure. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a snack, medieval style or not, and settle in. Before we begin, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe if you love these dives into the past. Drop a comment below, tell me where you are watching from and what time it is there. I am always amazed to see how we are connected across the globe. Now, dim the lights, turn on a fan for that gentle, cozy hum, and let us ease into this incredible story together. We start with a deliciously messy chapter, medieval junk food. Imagine a world far removed from today's conveniences. No drive-thrus, no vending machines, no neon-lit food carts rolling through city streets. Yet, even in the Middle Ages, people craved a quick, tasty bite to break the monotony of their days. These snacks were bold, often greasy, sometimes delightful, and occasionally downright bizarre. Let us begin with a fan favorite, apple fritters. Picture them as the medieval donut, golden, crispy, and carrying just a hint of danger. Forget the shiny, perfect apples of modern supermarkets. These were small, tart, knobby fruits, perhaps quietly plucked from a neighbor's tree under the cover of night. Villagers chopped them up, tossed them into a rough batter of flour, eggs, and a splash of ale, because water was often a risky gamble in a time before filtration. Then came the magic, frying in bubbling pig fat. That oil was reused so often it might as well have had a seat at the table. What emerged was a treat with hot, crispy edges, a soft, warm apple center, and a slight chance of a burnt tongue if you were not careful. If you were wealthy, a dusting of rare, imported sugar marked you as a big deal, a true status flex. For most, a drizzle of honey or a spiced syrup, perhaps with cinnamon or cloves, brought enough sweetness to lift the spirit. You would snatch one at a bustling fair, after a long church service, or on a lively market day. Grease staining your tunic, a wide grin on your face. Kids clamored for them, birds swooped down to steal a bite, and for a fleeting moment, you forgot the pile of pickled turnips waiting back home. It was a small, golden escape in a tough world. Next, let us savor cheese curds, the medieval answer to popcorn. These bite-sized clumps were simple, squeaky, and wildly inconsistent. They were not glamorous, no melting gooiness, no stretchy appeal, just pure, unadulterated dairy joy, born from the cheese-making process. Milk was split into curds and whey using rennet. Yes, derived from the stomach lining of a young animal. A gritty reality of the time. The curds were lightly pressed, salted, and that was it, ready to eat. Some were soft and fresh, others rubbery and chewy, and a few squeaked against your teeth like they had a mind of their own. Monks tucked them into satchels for long days of prayer. Travelers carried them on muddy roads, and kids gobbled them like rare treats. Assuming the cows had been kind that week, you could fry them for a crispy twist, crumble them over a steaming stew, or pop them straight into your mouth. The faint whiff of the barn coming along for the ride. In an era of stale bread, cold broth, and endless cabbage, cheese curds were a quiet victory. Reliable, filling, and handy for bribing a hungry cat or a fussy child. They were not a feast, but they did not need to be. Offering comfort in a world where little else did. Shifting gears, let us explore turnip pie. By modern standards, it is no dessert, but in the medieval world, where sugar was a costly luxury and apples vanished outside harvest season, cooks turned to creative desperation. They took humble turnips, mashed them, hopefully tender, and mixed in a bit of egg for binding. Perhaps a dollop of honey or a handful of dried fruit if the pantry was generous. This blend went into a sturdy crust of flour, water, and sheer determination. When done well, it was warm, slightly sweet, and carried a comforting, earthy charm. A root vegetable hug in pastry form. At its worst, it tasted like someone mistook livestock feed for a recipe and just went for it. Turnips were cheap, abundant, and the crust could hide a multitude of flaws. Overripe, undercooked, or bitterly off. Daring cooks added spices. Nutmeg if the household had coin. Pepper if they were feeling wild. Raisins might appear, puzzling eaters but adding a chewy surprise. Nobles turned up their noses, leaving turnip pie to peasants and eager monks with too many root vegetables and time on their hands. It showed up at fairs, feast tables, and monastery kitchens, a humble dish with big dreams. It was not cheesecake, but it tried, and in the Middle Ages, effort counted for a lot. For the common folk, it was a rare treat, filling, affordable, and just sweet enough to feel revolutionary. Now, let us meet the true champion, the meat pasty. Medieval hot pockets with heart and a hint of danger. A thick, rugged pastry crust encased seasoned meat. Pork, mutton, or venison if you lived near a lord's estate and luck was on your side. For most, the filling stretched to rabbit, pigeon, eel, or anything that once scampered or slithered. Spices like pepper, sage, or garlic worked hard to boost flavor, or at least distract from meat that lingered a bit too long. Hot, greasy, and deeply comforting, you would eat it on the road, in the fields while tending crops, or even at a rowdy public execution. Whatever the day called for, the crust kept it warm, shielded it from dust, rats, and the occasional peasant sneeze. Vegetarian versions, with roots, leeks, or cheese, emerged for fasting days or the devout. You did not question the contents, just took a hearty bite and trusted the cook's mood. Miners and laborers carved initials into crusts to claim their share, tossing thick edges to rats or, in folklore, to appease spirits. Were they tasty? Often. Yes. Mysterious? Always. That was the charm. A portable burst of indulgence in a gritty world. For a lighter note, consider candied fennel seeds, the medieval take on breath mints. Tiny seeds got coated in a hard shell of sugar, a pricey import that took skill to refine. Boil, and pour by hand. With a bold, licorice-like bite, they freshened breath and settled stomachs after heavy feasts of mutton or goose. In noble houses, a small dish appeared post-dinner, a subtle flex of wealth. You chewed cautiously, testing one first, listening for cracks, then committing, a risky but rewarding crunch. Common folk mimicked with honey and crushed herbs. Not quite as grand, but close enough to feel fancy. Small but mighty, they brought a touch of refinement, even if your tunic still bore grease stains from the meal. Honey cakes step up next, the golden child of medieval sweets. Dense, sticky, and full of heart. Honey, the sweetener of the masses. Start here, assuming you had bees, knew a beekeeper, or braved a hive yourself. Mixed with flour and water, the batter turned into a firm, chewy slab, baked by the hearth until golden. Wealthy homes added spices, nutmeg, cloves, or cinnamon, sparking village gossip for weeks. Dried fruits, raisins or figs, joined in if not swiped by hungry kids. These cakes shone at feasts, festivals, and weddings, durable enough to survive a drop, a step, or a playful toss in a food fight. They doubled as gifts, bribes, or a sly jab. Here is something sweet, unlike you. Slicing took a strong knife and some elbow grease, but eating was pure joy. A sticky, warm taste of indulgence amid a diet of salted grain and cupboard rats. Then we have fried fish skin cracklings, an unexpected delight from a thrifty era. In coastal towns or by rivers, cooks stared at piles of cod or herring skins and thought, why not fry it? Tossed into hot fat, they sizzled into crispy, salty strips, a concentrated burst of ocean flavor. A sprinkle of salt or a hint of garlic or herbs elevated them to brilliance. Light, fatty, and nearly imperishable, they sustained soldiers on marches, sailors at sea, and peasants selling them outside taverns to rowdy crowds. Scales might linger, shapes might twist oddly, but by medieval standards, they were elegant. The catch? The smell. Fry a batch, and your hut smelled like a fishy breeze for a week. Still, the crunch made it worthwhile. A bright spot in a world of warm beer and hard bread. Bread soaked in ale, known as sops, brings us to pure comfort. Stale bread, tough as a brick, met flat, smoky ale brewed in someone's back room. Soaked, it softened into a hearty, sloppy mush, bitter with fermented grain but oddly satisfying. A sprinkle of herbs, a rare fried egg, or a scrap of cheese turned it festive on a good day. For the working class, it was a quick fix. Calories to fuel a day of toil without fuss or forks. On feast days, spiced ale might lift it. A nutmeg shaving sparking hope. It stretched scraps. 2. Stale bread and sour ale reborn as intentional fare. It did not travel well, turning to mush in your pouch. But by the fire on a cold night, it warmed body and soul. Nobles took it up a notch with sops and wine. Toasted bread plunged into mold. Spiced wine, rich with warmth and fragrance, became a spoonable luxury, served at banquets or late-night feasts. You savored it slowly, pretending to enjoy the lute player while feeling faintly fancy. Dried fruit or nuts added flair. A whole egg made it a puzzle. Peasants mimicked with cheap ale or vinegar. A meal that filled you up and left you wondering. Warm, tipsy, and indulgent, it closed heavy meals with style. Dried fruit, raisins, figs, dates, was medieval candy, prized and tough. Sun-dried or smoked, they wrinkled into sweet, dense bites, a workout for your jaw. Nobles wrapped them in pastry or soaked them in wine, drizzling rose water for guests. Commoners savored them slowly, hiding in barns to avoid sharing. Stored in sacks or pots, they hardened into weapons for cheeky siblings. A rare, sugary luxury in a sparse diet. Blood pudding balls hit hard, born from using every scrap. Fresh pig blood mixed with oats, onions, beef fat, and spices, shaped into spheres, and fried in sizzling fat. Dark, crispy, and rich with iron, they tasted earthy. A bold bite for the day. Hot from the pan, they shone. Cold, they fueled on the go. Nobles paired them with pepper or eggs. Peasants ate them to skip cabbage. At fairs and markets, they fed the hungry, warming winter days with gritty charm. Medieval pancakes, thin and tough, fried in lard, were no fluffy dream. Flour, eggs, ale, or water hit a hot griddle, browning into uneven circles with chewy centers. A dash of honey felt lavish. Herbs or onions bold. Peasants, nobles, and monks rolled them up, dunked them in broth, or ate them scorched. A Lent staple, they hid odd scraps and filled bellies. Humble yet sneaky in their appeal. Wafers followed, crisp and light, a snack and near sacrament. Flour, water, eggs, maybe honey or rose water, poured into hot iron molds. Sold at churches or fairs. They bore saints or flowers. Pretty but fragile, they cracked in the wind, crumbled on the road, but brought a festive lift. Stacked with cheese for the rich, eaten fast by the rest. Succoth was pure extravagance. Fruit like oranges, dates, or ginger boiled in syrup, candied to a glossy jewel. Sugar or honey took time and skill. A mark of wealth for banquets or gifts. Soft and syrupy or dry and sugared, it dazzled guests. A sweet flex while peasants licked the spoon. Fried eel closed it out. Slimy, bony, but fried to crispy. Savory gold, caught in rivers, chopped, and sizzled. It dodged fast day rules, delighting all. Medieval junk food, quirky, greasy, a window into a rugged life. Now, let us drift into the shadows of ancient dreams. In Mesopotamia, dreams carried weight, divine telegrams from the gods. By 2500 before Common Era, Sumerians, Assyrians, and Babylonians scratched meanings onto clay tablets in cuneiform. Kings halted wars, farmers skipped planting, all swayed by sleep signs. Baru priests, wise and trained, pored over texts like the Ishgar Zak. Eating dates? A blessing. A flying goat? Bad news. Dreams were a sacred line, ignored at your peril, linking mortals to a cosmic voice. We journey to Egypt, where dreams became living texts. From 1550 to 1070 before Common Era, the Ramesside Dream Book catalogued visions on papyrus. Eating crocodile flesh signaled power. A nod to Sobek, god of strength, marked good or bad in red and black ink. Dreams shaped choices. Priests in temples of Thoth or Serapis guided incubation. Sleeping in holy spaces for healing or insight. Bathing, fasting, and prayers prepped you for divine visits. Amulets with Horus Eye blocked bad visions. Spells erased terrors. Sleep was a theater for gods, ancestors, and souls. The Greeks wove dreams into healing, and we follow their path. At Asclepian temples, from Epidaurus to Pergamum, The sick sought cures. After rituals, bathing, and animal offerings, they slept on stone beds, dreaming of Asclepius' staff or snakes, waking healed or with guidance. Hippocrates valued dreams, water hinting at kidneys, crushing at chest woes, natural or divine. Dreams spoke truth. Oneirocritics, street seers, leaned on Artemidorus Oneirocritica, a 2nd century Common Era guide, decoding with style. Dreams tied earth to the heavens. Prophetic dreams held supreme power, a thread across time. In the Hebrew Bible, Joseph's sheaves bowed, foretelling rule. His fat and thin cows saved Egypt from famine. Assyrian king Ashurbanipal saw victory in sleep, proof of divine favor. Greeks named true dreams Oneiroi Elithanwa, steering wars, cities, voyages. Romans, like Augustus, claimed glory from visions. Nero sought counsel too. Prophetic dreams were tools, turning sleep into fate's whisper for nations. In Anatolia, the lunar god men beamed messages from hills. Pilgrims walked labyrinths, slept under stars, dreaming of lions for brave sons, rain for wise daughters. Hittite kings gained war tips or warnings in sleep. One queen adopting a goddess by dream. Incubation built communities, hope uniting strangers. Artemidorus' 5-book Oneirocritica tailored meanings. Flying for freedom, teeth falling for loss, all shaped by your life. Nightmares shook them all. Babylonians fought demons with cedar incense. Amulets. Egyptians leaned on bees or Horus. Greeks blamed Hades or Furies, a sign of cosmic wrath. Rulers turned dreams to power, a cunning play. Alexander's vision of Ammon named him divine, cementing rule at Siwa. Hatshepsut's birth dream from Ammon blessed her throne. Daniel's statue for Nebuchadnezzar mapped empires. Sleep is statecraft. Freud and Jung later mirrored this, seeing symbols, heroes, shadows. Science probes rapid eye movement, trauma in dreams. Yet films, apps, and journals chase the old question: what is your dream telling you? Ancient sleep still whispers to us. Let us toast now to beer. Ancient, sacred, vital. In Sumer, 5,000 years ago, beer was life, food, wages, a divine gift. The hymn to Ninkasi, 1800 before Common Era, sang of Bapayar, barley bread crumbled into water, fermenting into thick, cloudy gruel, safer than water, rich in nutrients. It powered laborers, leaders daily via reed straws. Shared, it bonded villages, poured in rituals to Ninkasi, a taste of the gods. We flow to Egypt, where beer surged. Temples and palaces brewed vast batches. A gift from Osiris, emmer wheat, dates, honey fermented in vats, thick enough for spoons, key for pyramid workers. Jars stocked tombs for the afterlife. Murals showed the craft. The drunkenness festival honored Sekhmet. Beer dyed red to calm her, saving humanity. Women brewed at home, priestesses in temples, tying beer to spirit and survival. Beer was magic, fermentation a holy shift. Sumerians offered libations. Egyptians filled ceremonies with jars. It synced humans to cosmic cycles. Did it spark civilization? Barley's sugars fueled farming, storage, trade, breweries in Uruk. Babylon demanded tools, timing, records, birthing bureaucracy. Beer traded for wool, oil, pottery, linking cities sip by sip. Women led this art, a sacred trust. Sumerian mothers, Ninkasi's priestesses, Egyptian wives, and temple workers brewed with skill. Clay vats, malted grain, wild yeast, dates or herbs for flavor. Cool pits for control, no science, pure wisdom. Men later ruled, but alewives brewed on, their tall hats twisted into witch tails. Beer was pay, rations by rank, 9 types in Mesopotamia. Egypt's nobles drank golden brews. Poor got gruel. Elite jars at feasts showed power. A diplomatic sip. Today, we echo them, malting, fermenting, flavoring. Ethiopia's pots. Peru's brews carry Sumer's spirit. Festivals toast beer's bond. Bioarchaeology revives tomb recipes. Beer fed, built, sustained empires. A liquid thread of history. Saddle up for our final leg. The Pony Express. In 1860, America sprawled, but mail crawled. 3 weeks from New York to San Francisco. Ships via Panama battled disease. Stagecoaches fought mud, bandits, With Civil War near, Unity begged for speed. Russell, Majors, and Waddell gambled on horses. A 2,000-mile relay. St. Joseph, Missouri, to Sacramento, California. No funding. Pure nerve. 190 stations. 400 swift horses. Thoroughbreds east. Mustangs west. Stations. Sod shacks or forts. Held food, water, guards. Riders braved snow, heat, wolves, rivers. Paiute attacks in 1860. April 3, 1860. Johnny Fry raced west. Another east. Machilla's flying. 20 pounds of mail. 10 days later. Success. A marvel. Crowds roared. Papers sang. Young riders. Under 125 pounds. Galloped 75 to 100 miles. Dodging danger. Pony Bob Haslam rode 380 miles. Arrow wounded. Unstopped. It stitched the Union. 10-day mail tied California close. Stations grew into rail stops. Telegraphs. Writers turned legends. Dime novels fanned myths. Telegraph wires. Done October 24, 1861. Outran horses. The Express bled $700,000. No profit, yet proved speed-lived. Statues. Stamps. Reenactments honor it. The Pony Express carried hope. Grit. Connection. Hoofbeats echoing still. What an epic ride. From fritters to dreams. Beer to riders. We have tasted history's pulse. Raw. Bold. Human. Thanks for joining. Like. Subscribe. Comment. Your favorite snack. Dream. Or tale. Where are you? What time is it? See you next. Dim the lights. And let us explore more.